Don't Give Up Your Day Job, a local musician's guide. By me, Paul Gillings. An educational and sometimes humorous look at what it's like to be part of the local music scene. Well, hello again, and welcome to another edition of Don't Give Up Your Day Job, the local musician's guide, how to survive, what to do, what's going on. I have two incredible local musicians with me today. I have Mr. Kevin Harrison. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Paul.
How you doing? Nice to see you, mate.
And you, mate.
Thanks for coming over. Long time no see.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure, mate. And Lee Chapman.
Hello, Paul.
Hello, mate. Old acquaintance, old friends, aren't we, buddy?
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, I was just actually showing you an album that you guys that you recorded with your band Vinyl Wave in 2006. That I guessed on harmonica with. And it turns out my wife was a part of the. Was it you were using rehearsal rooms or something like that?
Well, we used the art centre for the video, for the music video. So I think the pictures on the inside sleeve.
Okay, they're all from the New Art Centre, of which my now wife was the custodian and ran the place. Yep. And we didn't know each other when this CD was out, and here we are. Both named on it.
There you go. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what is it you boys? What is it you're up to at the moment, Kevin? What is it you guys are doing together?
Well, on the way here, I reminded Lee that it's actually 25 years this year.
I didn't think Lee was that old.
No, neither did I, and I didn't think I was either. We've been playing together now for 25 years. We started off as a little local acoustic duo.
Was that Len and McCartney?
No, that was a thing called Open Minds.
That's it. Yeah, I was going to say Simple Minds.
No, that name was taken, even if that was how it was mentally.
Definitely was.
So we did that for a couple of years, and I'd always wanted a Rickenbacker guitar.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So
I had one. There's a picture of me holding mine up there in 1996. That skinny fella in the middle there. That's a 1986 Rickenbacker. That is
right.
Very nice.
So I managed to get myself one, and I think that was like a catalyst because we were bringing more and more Beatles material into this acoustic set anyway. And that seemed to become the catalyst where we decided to do more and more Beatles, but to promote it more as an experience gig.
Okay.
So we went down the road of not trying to emulate the individuals, but to just do the music.
Yes. Around that time there was the bootleg Beatles and stuff like that going about. You did the whole costumes, the whole shebang, didn't they?
That's
so
right.
So just to clarify, this wasn't that. It was the experience of the songs and the songwriting.
That's right,
I think the poster used to say an appreciation.
That's right,
for the Beatles music, didn't it?
We always thought that if we were going to try and do it properly, then we'd have to learn the accents and wear the wigs. And I don't think we really felt up for that at the time.
I'm not sure I'd feel up for that at any point. That's brave, isn't it?
No, I mean, I'm still trying to perfect this accent. So.
I was going to say that's not a Norfolk or Suffolk regional accent you have there, mate.
it's a good old Geordie accent.
That's lovely, mate. Please don't ever lose that. That's lovely.
Well, 30 years in Lowestoft, I don't think it's going to go anytime soon.
Good man. My grandmother left Germany when she was 18, 19 years old and spoke with a German accent until the day she died at 84.
Really? Yeah. Good for her.
So you had the duo, which then turned into sort of a bit more of a Beatles thing. We were getting incredible amounts of work. Just as not surprised.
This duo with some backing tracks that started quite.
Well, it's the old school, wasn't it?
MIDI.
Oh right, yeah.
But then we were invited to do a show on the seafront here at Lowestoft, and for that we managed to get a band put together.
Great,
fantastic experience, and we then focused quite considerably on building that band and getting the right people in place. Yeah, and then it just went from strength to strength.
Awesome. I mean, you boys were only sort of out doing that around this area. So and you know, and I've known you guys for you know, I've known Lee for most of that amount of time, and we bumped into each other. I think my old band played at your wedding, didn't we?
You did indeed, yeah.
Excellent stuff. But you know, you guys have always had, you know, bags full of gigs. Because you for anybody that hasn't heard it, go and check it out, because it's really well done as well, and you didn't half-arse it. You didn't just say, I'm going to strum out a couple of Beatles songs, because we can all, you know, I play guitar mediocrely, but you know, it's we can all strum out a Beatles song. But there's a difference between that and then doing what you boys, which is, you know, making it authentic. Do you think?
Yeah, that was always the focus for us, is to just get that authentic sound.
Yeah,
I think if you get that, then you're most of the way there.
Hence the Rickenbacker,
the Gretschers,
Blimey.
the Vox amplifiers these days.
Yeah, it's a combination, isn't it? The having all the right kit, and but then taking the time to listen in to the original recordings
and the nuances of the things that they do.
Exactly, and just kind of get those little bits right, because a lot of time those bits aren't written in the books.
No, it's literally box chords, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, which isn't. I mean, some of the finger style and the picking. I'm telling you, do you know what I mean? The nuances of it just isn't there in those things.
That's it. Yeah, and there's even like the vocal harmonies as well. There's there's certain bits which are always transcribed differently, or you know, I think there's certain bits where it says, you know, Paul sings this and John sings this, and you actually realise that it wasn't. It was the other way around.
Oh, really?
Or, you know,
because they all did it stood around one mic most of the time anyway, so you're not going to get any separation on the recordings, are you?
That's right.
Find out. And the tales are lost in history as well. You know, despite the Get Back documentary, the ones that I guess you guys are after aren't on there, are
they? That's right. Yeah.
So, what era do you do for the Beatles at the moment, or that time, or was it just all of it?
At that time, we did the first single, "Love Me Do." And we went as far as Hey Jude, Let It Be.
Yeah, when we were running the MIDI tracks as a duo, we were definitely doing the complete broad sort of set of material, weren't we? But by the time we got to the band, I think we'd sort of worked out that, you know, without having the keyboard player and the string sections, that later period was actually not going to necessarily work for us. So we made this decision to kind of go early. We went up to sort of like
the touring years, really.
the touring years of the Beatles, and then we kind of, then I'm sure our set sort of evolved into, well, by the time we went to the Cavern,
2005.
the first set was then rock and roll, wasn't it?
Right,
so that was like all the covers that the Beatles played. Yeah. So we were doing Little Richard, Chuck Berry, all that kind of stuff. And then it was, the second half was then Love Me Do.
That's right, yeah.
Through to whatever it would have been, sort of...
Day Tripper-ish.
Day Tripper, that kind of stuff, yeah.
So the sort of the leaning off of the MIDI and leaning more to the band led more towards emulating that era of music and that style, which is, I guess, what live bands and live music was originated from, wasn't it? It's the very roots of it, isn't it? You know, that sort of blues boom coming into pop music kind of idea.
Absolutely.
with your skiffle groups,
and
stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think we wanted to tell a bit of a story without actually telling the story, you know. So the all of that rock and roll stuff, the very early influences of the Beatles was all kind of packaged up in the first set, and then we could go and almost go on that particular journey from Love Me Do all the way through, although we did not play chronologically. But it was the experience that we wanted it to be.
Well, it sounds like you put an awful lot of thought into that, and as an original musician, I think we concentrate on our own songs and our songwriting and stuff like that, and I think sometimes we don't put enough effort and time into what you were talking about there, which is an entertainment and experience for the audience, a whole show, isn't it? So instead of just concentrating on the individual tracks, which you have to get right, you have to then put on a whole show, right?
That's right. Yeah. And I think that was there was a sort of an ulterior motive to doing the rock and roll and the earlier part of the Beatles sort of catalogue, because most of it was upbeat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So like by the time you get to that psychedelic period, everyone's sitting down,
having a joint,
staring at the stars. So
nobody's dancing to Lucy in the Sky, apart from the timing changes.
Exactly,
it's not really that kind of thing. It was a studio album, and they were a studio band.
Exactly, and that was just kind of like, let's just do rock and roll. Let's keep it rock and roll, and then we keep people on the dance floor. So it was, how can we do 2 hours worth of material and keep people on the dance floor? Well, if the first half is the rock and roll influence of the Beatles, and then the Beatles material in the second half, and that was kind of.
So has that always been your passion then, Kevin? Because I don't like to play the age card and stuff like that. But you're not an old man, but you're not quite as, and we're not young men either. But you do have a few more miles on the clock than us. So has that always been your musical influence? So what got you started? What are your early influences?
First of all, I've always been older than you two. Let's get that clear. Kind of going around the gasworks to get to the top there, Paul. As far back as I can remember, my mother would say that my first words were yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
So I've always been a huge fan of the Beatles, to a point, I think, where I almost blocked other music out.
Wow.
Until punk rock arrived.
Oh, you were a punk rocker.
And that
this is a scoop on, Kev. This is great. Yeah.
Well, that really stirred up my excitement for music again.
Yeah.
I'd started playing guitar when I was about 11 or 12, and we did. None of us could sing particularly well, so we just did shadows or instrumental versions of popular songs. But when punk came along, you didn't really have to sing. You could scream down a microphone. And
how was that for you, going from, like, I say, the clean cutness of the Beatles, or the perceived clean cutness of them, to then punk rock? Was that literally a rebellion against society, parents and stuff like that, or was it just freeing?
I think it was just excitement for the music. What was the difference between the rock and roll in the early mid-50s to punk rock in the late 70s? It was a kind of rebellion, but it was also just kids really getting off on this exciting, dynamic music.
Yeah.
And from the punk became the new wave thing, which became the new romantics, and what I would call the fairly mediocre music of the 80s.
You didn't go through that phase. You don't strike me as a frilly shirt and eyeliner kind of guy, but I've been surprised by the punk rock thing, Kev, so I don't know what's going to happen next, to be honest, mate.
It's it was what it was, and that was the thing that really... It didn't take a genius to be able to work out these 3 chord songs.
Right.
And
but it was all about the attitude, right? It was the feeling.
Attitude and energy.
Yeah, energy.
I wasn't an out and out punk. It wasn't the mohawk or any of that sort of thing.
You weren't safety pins through your nose or nothing like that?
No. Plenty of safety pins on the old school blazer, but no, it was just about expressing ourselves musically, and it was exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I bet it was. It really does sound. I mean, I was born in 1976, which was kind of the I guess either the beginning or the height of it, or something like that at that time. But from what I hear it was. So Lee, I started the thing with the Vital Wave, which was all original songwriters. Yep. Writing and creating stuff, and you do covers now.
Yeah.
And you're very successful at it, and you're great at it. What was the transition? Do you still write songs? What changed there?
Yeah, as I don't do any writing anymore.
Wow.
Just because of time, really.
Well, I stopped for about 20 years. Yeah. I not wrote a song. I played in a Harvey Blues band. We had fun. Yeah. We had great. You guys saw us a few times. We did gigs together and stuff like that. It was great fun. It was superb. But I just didn't feel it. Is that what it was for you?
Yeah. I mean, at the minute, any time spent sat in front of a computer or in the office is all dedicated to putting the band, the covers bands out, and that's that is just the time I have.
Right, so admin stuff, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
sort of
admin,
gigs,
I
invoicing?
mean, probably the admin it takes up most of the time.
So what kind of stuff are you adminning for a sort of busy, what do you call yourselves, function band, show band?
Yeah,
what is it you call it?
show band, function band. So just quotes and contracts are the main, the main two sort of avenues really. So starting off sending the quote to get the gig, and then hopefully get the gig, and then
because you're pitching for like sometimes it's fairly like put this in perspective, this first world problems, but to people who are booking you for their wedding or for their show, for their function, that's important. That's like, you need I guess you do need a contract for that, 'cause it's not like for the gigs that I do, if I don't turn up to the pub, there's still going to be people in there drinking and they'll probably get another band. For you boys, that's somebody's life event, right?
Absolutely. I mean, as far as the sort of the weddings and the parties are concerned, I think they're buying in other suppliers for whatever it is, their cakes and their chair covers and
And what you guys do go with the theme of people's weddings as well. Those are the songs of people's lives. People get together, on the Beatles songs and stuff like that, and any of those things. So you have the Austin Beats at the moment, don't you? You still have the Invisible Band.
The Invisible Band, which is sort of pop disco, so a bit more sort of obvious and sort of straight function band, sort of trying to cover all the decades. I say all the decades, we sort of go from the 70s through to modern.
So it's more poppy than...
So it's, I think the disco was the sort of starting point with it, disco pop,
right.
And then there's a bit of sort of indie rock in there as well, just to kind of try and please all the people.
How do you deal with that sort of... do people when you book, you send you set lists of stuff that they want? Does that happen?
They try.
They try. Do you succumb and say, we'll see if we can learn that one then?
I mean, every now and then there's some good ideas, and you sort of try and take those on board, and see if it's all... I mean, first dances are always a thing that we try and sort
they're
out.
Terrifying, aren't they? I've only done one once, and somebody wanted a song, a blues song. It's like, you do know that that's a blues song. We want that song you do as our first dance. Really?
Yeah.
So I've only ever done it once, and I was shitting myself.
Yeah, it's...
so this is a regular thing for you.
I mean, we sort of not every gig, not every wedding gig, but every now and then. I mean, it depends what they want.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's songs which, as the Austin Beats, as a 60s band, we've been asked before to do sort of songs which are, I would guess, are more got a bigger orchestral sort of arrangement, I guess. So, and that's we've sometimes had to sort of say, well, maybe that'd be better if the DJ
played that song, because it's got a full string quartet and a horn section in the middle.
And you're just not going to do it. You're not going to do it justice. And if they want to, but again, because people know what we do with the 60s stuff, we can often sort of steer them.
So you say, we don't know that one, but we do know this one.
Yeah. And there's a few decent sort of slower Beatles tracks or whatever it is.
Oh, just be honest, anyone that can't find a Beatles track that means something between them and their spouse is missing something, aren't they?
Absolutely. But with the Invisible Band, the pop thing, it's there's so many avenues that you can go down there, then it can start to get quite a headache.
But I guess it's like the admin in just keeping the track of the songs and the arrangements and stuff like that. Do you have regular rehearsals with the bands then?
Not really, no. I mean, with the Austin Beats, we have to... there's more of a reason to get together, isn't there, I think? And because there's a lot more harmony, vocal harmony that needs working.
So it's not... with the Invisible, is it a case of, well, we're going to play so-and-so by, I don't know, Spandau Ballet, whatever it is, download it off the internet, here it is, we're going to play that version, we're going to play album version.
I mean...
Get it learned, is that how it goes?
The way that works, that band is, it's all done through a Dropbox, so, and the whole show is on track.
Right.
So, on a click.
Okay, because you were doing that before, and you're one of the first people I knew to do that, because you've always been pretty savvy with the old tech there, haven't you? Because I've noticed, even throughout the thread of this conversation, you talk about MIDI.
Yeah.
In days when I probably had no idea what a computer was, or even a MIDI file. So, and you do tech for the high school as well.
Yeah. Sound and lighting technician.
So you've always been sort of into the technology side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with the Invisible Band, that is more what I do now.
Okay.
So I don't play guitar in the band anymore.
Oh, really?
No. I've got another guy, Jordan, who's great on guitar. He comes in and does that. And
so you manage it and do.
So I manage it and do
stages
and do the sound. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have anything to do with this here Invisible Band then, Kevin? Or are you?
No, I don't.
The
It's
Austin
not
Beats?
really my music, is
No.
it?
It's not mine either. But it sounds like it pays the bills for you, Lee. Anyway, that's the main
absolutely.
thing, right?
Yeah.
So as far as giving up a day job goes, you're living the dream as far as I'm concerned. Mate, you're doing the music tech during the day, and then doing your band and all that during the evenings. It's a shame you're not playing guitar in that band, though, man.
Yeah, well, I played for a little while, but it's such a broad set list of material. You've got to be a really good guitarist to cover all the different sort of genres that are in it.
I guess if you're doing all the other bits as well, it's just
yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's a lot nicer going out and doing the sound for them.
Right,
'cause I can stand up front and mix it. And
someone's got to collect the money and do the invoices.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Pipe around that and stuff. Yeah.
It also means that the Austin Beats and the Invisible Band can go out on the same night, and that was kind of the other idea, was that they could run.
So you like set them boys up at the stage, and then we'll again go over and join Kevin do the Austin Beats.
Yes, we can have sort of two running. I've got a sound technician as well who will go out and look after the Invisible Band. When I can't be there.
I was going to say, does he leave you boys to just set up then and say like rocking like Clapton's going to plug in? I'll be home later on, boys. I'll be around later on to plug in and shag Patsy and stuff like that.
There's nothing really diva-ish about me.
You know. Well, that's good. That's great. So so he mixed in with this, functions and stuff like that. How does one even begin to try and get those gigs? Do you have a list of venues and put your name down for them, or do you? Is it just like, I know you've been on the scene for a while now? Is it sort of contacts?
I think probably that is the number one thing, is just being known, and there isn't really a shortcut to that. I would say that is just from keep doing it, keep doing it, and doing it in the same area, the same town or towns, because you do just get known as someone who can supply some music.
I mean, from what I know as well, you're very professional, and I think that matters as well. If you start acting like Kev said, there's nothing diva about. If you start being a diva and start being a dick about these things, you must be professional. Otherwise, people wouldn't keep hiring and keep coming back, right?
Yeah, that's it, and that sort of comes back to doing those things like the quotes and the contracts and keeping it all like sort of all in writing, if you like, because then that gives people a feeling of security that
Absolutely,
they are booking someone who is who is going to sort of turn up on the day.
Oh God, with the original stuff, you get venues are just the absolute worst. And I'm quite good on the communication, but sometimes it'll take 3-4 days to answer an email.
Yeah.
And then you try and keep it all in one thread, and you've got an email and then a Facebook message and a phone call. It's like, how do I rein them in? And the musicians I know, some musicians I know aren't half as organised as that. So it's like, how do they even survive?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Kev, I want to ask you something. What, were you ever involved in? Would you ever do any songwriting? Did you ever have any?
I did do a bit of songwriting, yeah. But what I find is that I lack that passion until something quite dramatic happens in the life.
You're right, yeah.
So I've been unfortunate, I think. Or fortunate, I'm not sure.
Food for songs, I think is what we call it.
Yeah, so relationship breakups is the classic, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So I tend to get a bit of a spurt on when that happens. But I've been married now for 10 years, so I haven't wrote anything for 10 years.
You can't write happy songs then. I don't want to write a happy, cheerful.
Who wants to hear a happy song?
My wife's been on me to write her a love song for 10 years, for the 10 years I've been together with her, and I keep writing stuff that's about... I wrote one for my next album called Domestic Bliss, and it's about my miserable middle age and stuff like that. It's like, you're gonna write me a love song one day? Like, what the hell, man? But you can't just, I'm not Barry Manilow. I can't just sit at the old piano or sit at the guitar and just churn one out on whatever I think about. I mean, there has to be inspiration. So, in one way, mate, I'm kind of glad that you're that happy. But Yeah, I would be. I think I'd be ultra surprised if you hadn't had a go throughout your music career of playing guitar and having such a good background of musical knowledge as the catalogue of songs that you listen to as well and stuff like that. So that's really good. Yeah. So how do you? I mean, do you then once you've do you get involved in any of the promotion for the Austin Beats and stuff like that with the social media and promoting the gigs and business?
I think all of us in the band are engaged with that, the sharing and the
it's easy, isn't it?
Self-promotion.
It's easy to all get involved.
Yeah.
It's you can't not get involved, really, can you?
Well, you say that. I've been in quite a few bands where it doesn't. What for you makes you say that? I'm interested to know what makes it easy to all get involved.
Well, only from the point of view that it's on your phone. I mean, it's not like in the old days when you used to say Kev, can you just go and put some posters up in the fish and chip shop? Kev would have to get out of his house and his bike or whatever.
I don't do that very often.
He's happily married now. He doesn't need to leave.
But no, I mean, we all used to do that, didn't we? Sort of drive around.
Well, some of us would, and bass player and or drummer. I don't want to make a cliche out of them, but used to go and get involved in that. Yeah. But I still find that with social media,
Yeah, well,
bands I've been in when we're all an admin of the page. Right, and like you say, it's dead easy to just go like, share, and guys won't do it or won't be on. Oh, I'm not on Facebook. Well, you could join Facebook to help promote. I don't know, your fucking band or something.
Yeah.
But you guys are pretty good with all that, are you? So
I think so. Well,
I think we're all proud of what we're involved in, and we want to promote that.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
Oh, I completely agree, and I'm always flabbergasted when I'm in a band when other members don't. And it's kind of like, well, why not? Well, I'm really glad for you guys that you all do.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much, does it, to share a post or
not
or
at
just
all.
So post a picture or whatever. But it's all for the good, isn't it? Of promoting it and getting more gigs off the back of it. So and I think I mean, that is probably one of the sort of driving forces of doing this sort of thing is that you know that they're going to be paid gigs. So I think that's for every time you're doing a post or or
it's to help your job, right?
Yeah,
because that's what I keep thinking. I look at, even though it's original stuff, even though I'm not getting paid directly for and probably in the quantities that you guys are getting. I looked at it when I do my recordings, when I do my social media. That's my job.
Yeah,
and it's got to be done if I'm ill, if the cat's sick, if the kids are playing up or something like that. I've still got to get up and go to work. Yeah. Right, so I guess it's a work ethic more than anything else, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you can play an instrument and and someone will pay you to do it,
it seems obvious. It seems obvious to you, doesn't it? And it's almost like you've been doing it. But it seems to me, from what I'm reading, is you've been doing it for such a long time and at such a high level that you almost like take it for granted. Like, why wouldn't you? But I guarantee you, man, there's tons of pods there. Are like, well, I've learned to play the guitar. Why this will all happen now? The boss from Sony will drive past the rehearsal room window and say, "Hey boys, I'm going to make you a star."
Yeah. Well, I think maybe some of that is down to the sort of YouTube, Spotify sort of generation of being able to record something in your bedroom without having to leave your bedroom. So it's like as if like the music world will come to you. Do you know what I mean? Because that is essentially what it is, isn't it? If you're recording on your laptop, you're uploading it to Spotify. You're then, especially in the last 18 months, streaming concerts from your bedroom. Which obviously lots of people do. Then it is like you don't literally have to step out in the real world, but if you don't step out in the real world, then it's not. It can't all happen just down a.
No, and it absolutely does not. I mean, Danny and I got the little duo. I mean, we got the most traction for last year. We got out and about and did 40 gigs, which I know isn't a lot from your guys, these guys stand. But for us as an original duo, I mean, we did them for no money or petrol money and stuff like that. But we gained more of a fan base doing that, and got in touch with more people, sold more CDs, got more sort of followers, and gained some followers for the mailing list, which we can then sell more stuff to ultimately, because that's what it's about. It's not all about just look how many page likes I've got. I want to sell those people stuff.
Yeah,
is my main aim. But getting out and actually people people seeing you doing it right in front of them, the whites of the eyes. I think that's what because when we were talking just in the kitchen before, you talk about gigs have stepped up for you like this year, huge style, haven't they?
Yeah.
Because people want to see it done in front of them still.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, I made a decision during lockdown that we weren't going to sort of put anything sort of up online, like performance wise. We weren't going to do any sort of live stream and all that kind of thing, because it just sort of felt like you're sort of setting it up then for people to kind of not come and see you when the gigs come back. It's like because people, if they can sit and watch it on Facebook, and they probably just will, or a lot of people will, and they won't actually go. It's like, well, no, if you want to see the Austin Beats, you have to come out and see them.
You're a live act only. Yeah. That was a brave decision, mate. If you don't mind me saying.
Well,
that really
it's just like.
Yeah.
It was also, maybe laziness.
But it did also involve, which these bands had never done before, an investment in equipment and in the knowledge to be able to run it as well, isn't it? And I'm not saying you're shying away from that, but these are two things that you do very well and an awful lot. And why would you put, more of that stuff on your shoulders, isn't it? It's just something else to do, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that was my thought, is if we're going to do it, if we were going to do anything online, then we want to do it properly. And I didn't necessarily want it to be, sitting in your bedroom, with, your bed in the background. And
I've done so. I got caught up in it, not so much to start off with, but as it went on, I thought, do you want to play and do some? We got asked to do a few live streams. We still got out live as much as we could, social distance, or I don't really care if we weren't. Boris can kiss my ass. But it's like we did a few live streams, and it was just like fraught with like a decent camera. You think, everything's got a camera in it, right?
Yeah.
It has, but they're shit. And as soon as it's grainy, and then internet connections are not all great as you think they are. Not when they're streaming video and sound, are they? I mean, this is something that didn't occur to me because I'd never dealt with that. I can do PAs, I can work a computer, I can stuff like that, but streaming a whole show, sound and vision, is something else, right? Yeah,
it was a massive learning curve for all sort of industries, really. Any industry that involved sort of delivering something to people, whether it be like Kev's day job or sort of which is where you're office based, aren't you? And of the schools, the school work, all of that kind of stuff, that was all having to be done over Zoom or Google
my kids were
Classroom,
at the kitchen table doing a Google Classroom. My mum was at college pretending he was working but wasn't, and my daughter doing Google Classrooms, and that sorted the haves from the have-nots as far as decent internet and decent equipment went as well.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a lot of people having to learn about microphones and cameras and lights and all sorts of stuff.
Swearing in the background and
it's quite a learning curve, definitely. So we didn't go down that route of a sort of full sort of live stream concert, just partly because of the hazards of the tech and all that kind of stuff, but also to protect the sort of the set list a little bit, really, and the brand, and get people to come out and see it when we got back out.
Which sounds to me like, from what you said, like, and obviously see it, following your socials, like they are, right, and they're flooding in. Is it what kind of gigs have you got lined up then? Is it weddings or is it just functions and stuff?
Well, with the Austin Beats, it's there's a little bit of wedding work, not loads of wedding work, and we've always been careful with the wedding work, and we mainly because you want to be playing for the right people, because we only do 60s material.
That's interesting. Who are the right people?
The right people are people who love that music.
Oh, right, so they don't just book a random band and then go, play Oasis.
Yeah, exactly.
Play Queen. Oh, I see. Does that happen then?
Yes.
It can do.
Really?
Loads of
How
times,
do you deal with hecklers who are giving it Oasis? Especially because, like, I can't bear, like, drunk people, and later when I'm tired. I can bear drunk people early on. I'm cool with that, but later on, and if I've got drunk bods, especially, give us a go on your harmonicas. Like, really? Not because it's worse for you guys. I guess it's worse because they're expensive. Guitars are expensive, but harmonicas go in my mouth, and I don't want them. So, do you get a lot of that going on with the Austin Beats? And
almost inevitably at the end of every gig, somebody will come up and say, I've got a guitar.
Oh, God.
Oh, I've played a guitar before.
Yeah.
And I'm quite good at spotting these people.
Oh yeah.
So
Do you see them off in the past?
So I normally do a little disappearing act, and Kev gets
So he leaves you when
He does, yeah. we really need a safe word or something. We really need to work on
There's
this.
a little look like he's. Oh, I've spotted a lively one down the front there, Kev. My bass player used to work with Billy Lund. You know, I think you know Billy old Lund. His favourite one was if somebody come up and says, "Can I have a go on your bass?" He'd say, "Only if I can have a go on your girlfriend." Well, that's Billy, and he don't bloody care. I'd be too scared I'd get a smack in the mouth.
But we're talking probably about 50 and 60-year-old guys that come up, and I probably don't want to have a go on their wives or girlfriends. I hope none of them are listening.
That's fair dues, mate. That's fair dues. My dad is in the motorbikes. He says the same thing. Happens. These people come up to you and seen your motorbike, and they don't want to talk to you about your motorbike. They want to tell you about theirs.
Yes.
So they don't want to talk about your guitar. He wants to tell you about his and how good he is.
Yeah.
But my thought is like, well, I'm kind of up here playing, and you're down there in the crowd. So which one of us has got it going on there and stuff like that?
Well, we get a lot of sort of anoraks as well, don't we? Like not just with instruments,
What,
but
Beatles anoraks?
Beatles,
I see. Yeah. Oh my god.
All the sort of 60s anoraks.
That's got to be a tough one because half of that knowledge is must be speculative, isn't it? We don't really know, and even that Get Back, you must have all seen Get Back, and loved it. I think I'm on my third run through now. And but half of the stuff that we thought we knew, we kind of don't. And how can you? Because it wasn't all documented, right?
No, that's right.
So what stuff are they challenging you on? You haven't played it right, or what?
I don't think we've ever had.
That's bloody not true.
No, I don't think we've ever had that kind of.
No,
What do they get on?
It's normally from memory. It's normally people kind of saying, I saw the Beatles back in 1964 at wherever,
Green Yarmouth or
or it's I've seen the Hollies do this or do that, or my mate used to play guitar with the drummer that was in the Kinks for 2 weeks or something like that, that sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you get a lot of that kind of people want to sort of.
I think it's just people wanting to engage with us. To be fair, it's not because they think we've done anything wrong or we didn't look or sound right at a particular point.
So it wasn't critical.
It's not critical.
I go straight to the negative. Sorry, that's me. I projected that onto you guys. I go straight for the negative. So these are the anoraks just wanting to discuss. Discuss those things with you. That's got to be a buzz, though, right?
That's great. I mean, I think it confirms that we're doing what we do quite right.
I think you do it really well, but obviously, if the anoraks who I say know about these things, but people who have in-depth knowledge are talking to you about it, then you really must be, and that sort of validation must be really nice, right?
Absolutely, and we have one of the greatest anoraks of 60s music in the band with us.
That's true.
Arlo, bless him, he's like the go-to.
What does he do in the band?
He's the bass player.
Oh, okay, a bass player that is clever. I didn't want to say that out loud, but I'm sure all bass players are amazingly bright. But yeah, sorry, that's cool.
Yeah, Arlo knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Right, so.
What year was that song, Arlo? 1964.
So human Google.
Yeah,
for that kind of stuff, but accurate, and someone hasn't fiddled around with Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Where'd you meet him then? How did you put this band together? So were you quite happy with the MIDI keyboard? MIDI keyboard, what, got drunk and shouted to many of your girlfriends? Or the MIDI is out of control, we need to sack him and get real members. How did you recruit them boys?
Well, I suppose it's quite a long sort of process, isn't it?
I hate them auditions.
Where all these different people, where different people come in and out, I suppose... going right back to like what Kev was saying earlier, we started the full Beatles band, didn't we? The Beatles tribute band, off the back of a MIDI and all the programmed backing tracks. And our first gig was a few local superstars, wasn't it? It was bass player was John Ward,
wow,
folk guitarist extraordinaire and singer, and Terry Newby on drums.
Oh yeah.
We had Andy Robinson on keyboards, who was in Vinyl Wave with me, and then Kev was guitar. So that was how we sort of we put that band together, but of course that was a sort of one-off kind of band, wasn't it? For a one-off occasion.
We know people to fill these positions. They're very good. We know we can work with them. Let's get it together and get it on. And but it kind of didn't stick. Then.
But that was not something they could commit to sort of long term.
You can't sort of. For that.
Yeah, John was busy doing his thing, and Terry was busy, running Maulings for music.
Yes.
Stuff,
Do you know our tale of crossed paths for Maulings? Do you know about that? Because you worked there for a while. Right? Yeah. Well, I applied for the job the same time you did,
right,
and you got the job and I didn't.
Right.
And my refusal letter said that I didn't have enough musical experience. Which was hilarious.
Right.
As not that you didn't have enough musical experience, but having toured America and Europe as a teenager, I thought that was enough musical experience. I was deeply hurt. I was deeply hurt, man. I never got over it. No, it's cool.
It probably meant that they wanted someone who just was a bit of a techie boy.
More likely.
I didn't
he
have
can
any
work the till, Paul.
Yeah.
You haven't got a clue past May organs, mate.
I don't know.
And he caught our old drummer from Nexus getting 2 for 1 on the drumsticks. He had them stuffed up his sleeve that time, didn't he?
I can't remember.
He bought one pair and then nicked another.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and you saw him on the CCTV.
Really?
He says, "I tell your drummer it's not 2 for 1 on drumsticks."
Wow. Brilliant.
Yeah. Epic stuff.
So that was Terry and John and Andy came in and did that one-off gig, and then after that it was a bit like, right, well this has gone quite well.
Sounds great, live band. Loving it.
We need some other players. So then we had then James and Rick. I was already doing Vinyl Wave with them as a sort of a writing project, original project. Sort of over there, and then we sort of brought him in, didn't we? And sort of said, right, do you want to do it? And Andy was already with Vinyl Wave as well. So then it was sort of like the Vinyl Wave guys, wasn't it? Sort of helped form the Lennon McCartney band as it was then. But then where do we get to? Then we got to sort of like a time where we got offered loads of work, didn't we?
Tons.
With the band.
Well, like I say, you're really good at it. The only ones around here doing that kind of thing, and people love that stuff. So I'm not really surprised. Yeah. And obviously, being sort of on the ball as far as the promotion and admin as well, and the professional side, the whole package was coming together quite nicely.
Yeah. We were just getting known and getting the gigs, and then Kev decided to have a little bit of time out because I think it was over a Christmas period where we were offered loads, or December, wasn't it? And we were offered we were basically going to be out, 3 nights a week or something.
Does get a bit much, doesn't it? Get a bit much.
It felt like that to me. I was working full time, as I think you were at the time as well. But for me, I just yearned for being the other side of the microphone.
Right? Yeah. Well, you love music, and you love bands, and it's tough being. I mean, it's nice being on a stage, and whenever I see a band, I want to be the one up there.
Yeah.
But when I do 3 gigs a weekend, 4 gigs a week, I'm like, I don't want to have. It's exhausting, isn't it? More than anything else. Yeah. It's a lot of giving. It's a lot of energy. It's like running a bloody marathon, isn't it? Sometimes, especially with the higher energy stuff that you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, we were finding ourselves doing, sometimes 4 gigs a weekend with a Friday night, Saturday night, it's Sunday afternoon, and then maybe it's Sunday evening.
That Saturday night to Sunday afternoon must have been a bloody hell. You're not even getting any sleep, are you?
Well, it was tough. Yeah, at times, and I just felt, I'm going to take some time out, and then Lee continued. Yeah,
so that was the point, wasn't it? Where we sort of said, right, well, if we're not gonna do the Lennon McCartney band, which you and I essentially set up together, then it was only fair to sort of do something different, so I could still take the work that was being offered because I needed to do the work, and Kev wanted to have the time out. So
at one point I think you were sort of paring it down, so you could either do full band, duo, go out by yourself and do the songs. Whatever people wanted, you could suit it to that, keep it flexible.
You've got to be flexible, haven't you, really? Because the venue sometimes dictates whether it's going to be a band or a.
Well, they brought in that whole 2 in a bar rule, didn't they? Around the sort of, was that late 90s, early 90s, and it was like everywhere you could play suddenly got cut off.
Yes,
it's like, right, okay, there's half the venues already. Then smoking bans, so there's like getting none. And it's just got less and less, and it seems to be a sort of overarching theme for these conversations I had with people that venues. you know. But I get, if you're a function band, they're venues because they're function venues.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. I think the slight problem that we're finding at the minute is because there's, as you quite rightly say, there's a lot of function venues, not so many pubs having bands.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of pub bands who are now going,
Will be a function.
let's get in the
really?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So now there's loads and loads.
Well, they won't do it as good as you, boys. So for God's sake, you know, I hope they realise the amount of work from what you've described over the course of this conversation. That's a lot more work than than what being a covers band in a pub is.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, this is it, and the thing is that you can go online now and you can buy yourself a PA system and a
decent ones for nice money as well. Yeah,
and people will they'll turn up and put themselves into a wedding or a party, having essentially set themselves up a couple of weeks ago, and but the thing you can't buy from your favourite music store online is the experience of having run function bands for a long time.
It's like you were describing earlier. I mean, it's the experience. It's the experience of putting on a show, the whole night, how you wanted the night to progress. I mean, you were talking earlier about having this in the first half and that in the second half. That level of thought going into that show, I think people notice. I'd notice, not just from a musician's perspective. I want to be entertained. So I could sit here and go, right, well, I know this drummer, I know that guitarist, I know that I could send out a CD. Because we're old school. We could sell the Dropbox. That's a good idea. Of these are all the songs. Learn these 30 songs. We've got a gig at so and so's wedding in June. Lovely jubbly.
Yeah.
But that would be about where it was, and we'd literally be a jukebox, and it wouldn't be anything, because what you're talking about for what you boys are doing is a little bit of another level, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, sort of certainly trying to do all the visual stuff as well. Having the right clothes, the right look. You're having the instruments as well, so that it all, certainly for the Austin Beats, it has that authentic feel to it, and
it's interesting in other bands popping up. That really is. I should keep an eye out for that.
I think it's probably sort of a fairly natural sort of progression. That
people got to adapt. If they can't do that, then they will. I mean, it's kind of forced me into doing more original music.
Yeah,
because I was at home more. I worked right through the last 2 years anyway. But having a young family, having the room to be able to do it, and the sort of sorting up on the technology and stuff has enabled me to write my songs and stuff like that. Other than getting a covers band together, getting a band together, I find absolutely exhausting. Getting everyone's diaries in shape and finding time to meet up, and stuff like that. Because trying to hammer people into committing to a 4 guys to or gals to commit to one particular Thursday night every week is an absolute shower.
It's really hard,
especially if you're writing original stuff, because you can't do here's the Dropbox link, learn the songs. You've got to all stand in a room and do that together. So it kind of forced my hand to sit and write songs again, which is it's going really well for me. I'm more than anything else. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm really enjoying the freedom of it again, and being able to nip up here in the studio that we are, lay down a guitar track, nip back downstairs again. put the kid through the bath and bed to come upstairs and lay down a bass line. So you think that the hand's been forced by the venues dying and stuff like that, especially the death of our favourite one, the brewery.
No, absolutely. It's definitely there's certainly more function spaces about it now for to hold a band. So that's it seems to be where some of the bands are going. And there's on the other side of the coin, you've got people who want to have weddings, parties. They don't want to spend out on sort of expensive bands, function bands or whatever.
Well, I take it your price tag. I'm not going to ask how much you are, because that's rude. If people want to apply, I'll put a link and they can ask you directly and get a quote. So I'll put a link in the podcast. But I guess that's the other thing, isn't it? That these guys, these cheap bands, can't you throw, because that's all we ever see is people trying to get stuff cheaper. Obviously, the cost of living's going up quite significantly at the moment, and build to. And I guess they're going to go, well, why am I paying these zeros for you when I could be paying 1 0 for this band? You do get what you pay for, don't you? Less without being too rude to people who are having a go, and we can't blame them for adapting. But I think you still do get what you pay for these days, as far as bands goes and anything else. You know, again, Mr. Lund used to say, you know, if you want to be a £150 band, that's all you'll ever be.
Yeah.
And that's all you'll ever get.
Yeah.
But I've gone in, you know, just shows how green I am and not putting enough value on my own music. I've gone in for a couple of gigs lately, support slots to a couple of really high-end original blues bands and stuff like that. And I've gone in with a price, and they've gone, we'll take that. And it's like, damn it!
Yeah.
I wish I doubled that. God damn it! But there you go. I'm here now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think probably at the end of the day, what I try and do is look at, you know, the calendar for the year.
Yeah.
And go, right, you know, how much do I sort of need to earn, and you know, how many times do we want to gig across the year, and you know, like obviously like Kev, for example.
We want to do one gig every 10 years and we want £500,000, please, because we are the Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been a learning curve for you as well, like younger days, you know, starting out, like, how much do I bloody charge for this band? Obviously, you've got a fair idea now, and obviously that fluctuates with the economy and venues and people's budgets and stuff like that. So your experience, I guess, now knows where to pitch where you are.
Yeah.
But was that a guessing game for you starters, or did you have people in the industry that you knew would say, don't go out for less than a 5 spot, mate?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that, and a little bit of I think some of the venues that we played at were quite sort of helpful, actually. Some of the guys that, you know, some of the venues that we've played at, you know, lower stuff based places, you know, I think some of, you like the brewery, for example.
So they had a limit of what they would pay, and that was
that.
Yeah,
and I think the people behind the bar who were booking the bands, whether it be Murray or someone like that, you know.
Go Murray.
He was,
Listen,
you know,
I've forgotten about him.
But, you know, pretty honest, you know, pretty honest guy, and sort of saying, you know, well, this is what we pay these bands, and this is what we pay these bands. So, you know,
he would even say, "You boys haven't got a following," which we didn't. So I'll give you a starter at this, but so and so they've got a follower and they get this.
Yeah,
and it was transparent as hell.
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah.
So do you find these function places do that for you as well, or do you then sort of, is it the bride and groom that are booking you?
Yeah,
or,
you're normally
the rabbi for the bar mitzvah going, sorry mate, there's only 500.
Yeah, you're normally
in the budget, so that's what you're getting.
Dealing with directly with the clients normally most of the time.
So
sometimes you get booked through the venue, but
I was going to say some of them must recommend you and stuff like that.
Yeah, you get recommendations, and then they normally sort of pass you over, and then you do the direct sort of booking. It's normally the way to do it. So a lot of these venues, they to try and get in with as a package is actually quite hard.
Right.
You can't actually, very rarely can you get...
When you say package, do you mean like when they sell those wedding packages down to the Hatfield Hotel and stuff like that and go, £1,000 for a wedding, DJ, everything in,
That's
bosh.
right, yeah. I mean, places will have their DJ. That is something that they do tend to sort of... but when it comes to bands, they tend to be very sort of like, try and be very neutral, and they sort of like, they say, well, we'll recommend bands, but, you know, you can have...
But we like this one or this one with a heavy finger towards that one.
Yeah.
Because they're professional, they don't fuck the place up, drink all the beer and try to screw all the bridesmaids.
Yeah,
Thanks
that's
very
it.
much, yeah. So I want to just ask you about the, because you touched on it earlier, and it's my favourite gig that you've ever done, but you played at the Cavern, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little while ago now, but I think definitely worth mentioning. Tell us about playing at the Cavern. How did it come about? He's got to cast his mind back now.
Yeah. From the way I remember, and Lee might have a slightly different take on it, I used to go to the Matthew Street Festival in Liverpool, and I absolutely adored the Cavern Club. It's just
it's legendary. I've never been, but obviously it's a place of legend, isn't it?
Seriously, there's something spiritual about it.
Okay.
You know, as somebody who's grown up with the Beatles and been absolutely infatuated with them as a group all my life. I still remember the first time going down those steps into the Cavern itself and hearing the music get louder with every step that you went down, and that hot air coming up to meet you and the smell of sweat and everything.
But like opening the door on a submarine. It smells like 50 Russian sailors smoking and farting.
but it was amazing, and I'd seen a number of bands down there, and you know, they were good. Were they any better than us? I don't know.
So did you just chance your arm and say, "Yeah, book my band"?
We talked about it, and I phoned up a guy, Steve
Sausage.
Steve Sausage.
Well, that wasn't his name, but that was what he said. That was his catchphrase.
Yeah, we were all sausages.
He was like, "Sausage, mate, sausage."
Okay, righto. Sounds like a Scotsman.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So yeah, we put together a little pack with a CD in.
Mm-hmm.
Chased him up and says, "Oh yeah, I thought it was brilliant CD.
Oh,
yeah,
mate.
can't wait to see
There's
you."
some great photos on the socials of you boys down there. It's super.
Yeah. Well, we had a little spot on Look East as well, just before we went to do that, which was exciting.
Yeah, right.
And stressful.
Yeah.
Well, there is a story behind that.
Yeah, no, please tell me.
Because it was Look East, they had the Look East studios in, or still do, I guess, in the what's it called, Forum in Norwich.
In Norwich, yeah.
And of course, you got that big expanse of space when you walk in through the doors. I think you got Pizza Express or something, or whatever it is, the pizza place on the right, and I think the BBC studios is up there somewhere on the left. So they were just like, right, well, what we'll do is we'll just put you in there, and you just
set up in the middle of the foyer.
Set up in the middle of the foyer,
Okay.
and we'll just film it, and there'll be passers-by, and that'll be the audience, and and all this kind of thing.
They don't think these things through, do they?
Well, no, because Pizza Express weren't happy, were they? Pizza Express got wind of the fact that there was going to be a band playing in the middle of the Forum. So, and these things move quite quickly, don't they, with telly type stuff, as I'm sure you know, because you've done some telly bits.
Yeah.
And they kind of, all of a sudden, it's like, right, we need to find somewhere else.
They don't give a fuck.
No.
They don't give. I know there was another bands around these here parts that got filmed for a certain ITV show. And we're told they were going to be on it, and then got dropped at the last minute.
Right.
I think I've done either 30 or 35 TV shows as a very young man.
Yeah.
And I think I actually have filmed for 60 or 70 because they just cut you. They just cut you, and if they don't like what you're wearing, they will change it. And if they don't like where you're standing, they will move you. And if they don't like the venue, they will knock it down and build another one. They couldn't give a shit.
No.
So yeah, I'm not surprised that they were that cutthroat.
Yeah. So they just sort of phoned up, didn't they, and said, that's not going to happen.
No.
You just shattered my TV dreams.
Yeah. So we're like, oh, right, okay. And they're like, did they sort of say, can you find somewhere else?
I think they did, because you...
Or can you suggest somewhere? Or
What, you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what they pay their researcher for.
Yeah. So then it was on us. And I can't remember quite the contact or how we went about it, but we got the theatre anyway, the Marina Theatre.
Awesome. Yeah, nice venue.
And because I worked there back in the 90s anyway, so I don't know if that was...
I probably applied for that job as well.
Poor.
God damn, Lee Chapman got behind me stealing my jobs. You can have the job I've got now if you like, mate. It's arse. But anyway.
Yeah, so that was... we're going to go in there. But it was... you can have the theatre from, like, whatever it was, 4 in the afternoon until... 7 in the evening, because at 7 o'clock we opened the doors for a film. We're going to be showing a film on the evening. So it was like, and
thanks for the free TV advertising. Thanks for the publishing.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of my theatre.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
So well, I think it was 7.
Yeah, it was
7
all my jobs were to have that show taken.
Yeah. And I think Look East goes out between 6 and 7. I think. Something like that, and they wanted us to play the show out.
Yeah.
So the actual live.
I'm starting to feel the stress.
Yeah.
I'm scratching back I am. I'm like, my god.
Yeah. So that live song, that one live song, had to happen at 10 to 7.
Do you find that they do things in like microseconds as well?
Yeah. Well,
we had a 3-minute track. It was 3 minutes and 10 seconds, 8 seconds, something like that. That we had to get down to 1 minute 32.
Right.
For I think that was Look East actually.
Yeah.
So we had 1 minute 32. We've got can't it just be 1 minute 30? No. It's like, for God's sake, and it wasn't. And it lax as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that must have been a sweat fest. Right?
Yeah, that was funny because we were literally playing, weren't we? And the cameras were all on, and we were doing our bit, and then the camera went, off, and literally the screen for the film came down in front of us. just dropped in front of us like that, and we had to very quietly
Oh no!
strip the band down.
What film was showing? I need to know.
I've got this feeling it was The Merchant of Venice.
All right.
Oh, God,
I don't know why I remember
If
that.
it's the version I think it is, then it's terrible.
I'm sure it was. It was definitely some sort of old rerun type film, wasn't it? And like literally, we were packing all our gear or rolling it out off the stage and going out the side door
God.
as the Cornetto advert was playing.
Oh, Jesus. Excellent.
That's how tight it was.
Story.
Yeah, it's funny.
Fantastic. So the highs and lows of it. TV and all that seems so glamorous, but it sounds to me like you'll always have the cavern. That sounds epic to me. But to play
Well, nobody can take it away from us, Paul.
Absolutely, man. That's great stuff. Well, look, guys, we've come to the top of the hour, and thank you so much for coming over and sharing with us. I really, really appreciate it. And keep doing what you're doing. And so, so Kevin and Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul.
And I'll hopefully see you again soon.
Yeah,
Will do.
Cheers.